now let's get started. What is the SWE Mentor Network? The SWE Mentor Network is an exclusive members-only community that facilitates mentoring conversations between SWE members. So you are required to be a SWE member to participate, and sign-up links aren't posted publicly in order to protect the platform as a members-only benefit. So if you've ever been confused about how to sign up, that might be why, but you're going to learn how tonight. And I want to briefly mention here that if you're not currently a SWE member, that membership for the standard, collegiate, and professional options is prorated to 50% off right now. So that makes the collegiate membership $10 and the professional membership $50. And that membership would be active through June 30th of this year. So I've included a couple links at the end of the slide deck about how to sign up for membership. And like I said, you'll receive that by the end of this week. And now back to the Mentor Network. So it is a separate login from the username and password that you use to access the member portal. But if you have an active membership, you should see a more button from the top menu of the member portal. And then you'll be able to click on mentor sign up or mentee sign up from there. If you don't see those options and you have a membership or you're just not seeing what you expect to see, just reach out to membership@swe.org and we will get you settled and all signed up. You can also look out for sign up links in SWE's weekly member newsletter that is sent every Monday. We are frequently promoting the SWE Mentor Network in the weekly newsletter. So that's also a way to get those sign up links. And here I want to mention that although they're the two options, sign up as a mentor or mentee, you can actually be active in both roles if you want. And all that you have to do to be both a mentor and mentee is create a mentor account. There's nothing else you need to do, but having a mentor account will enable you to accept bookings for mentoring conversations from others, as well as book conversations with other mentors simply by accessing the mentor directory, which we'll look at together. And I also want to note that we really encourage all kinds of mentoring, peer-to-peer mentoring. You know, we're not focused on just a more traditional student-professional mentoring relationship. Anyone can sign up as a mentor or mentee as long as you're a SWE member. So wherever you're at in your studies or career, everyone has something to offer as either a mentor or mentee, or maybe both. And so before we get into how the platform works, I wanted to share some history and some numbers with you. So the SWE Mentor Network was launched in September 2020. So we're in our 4th year. There are about 1,500 active mentors, over 4,000 active mentees on the platform, 7,318 conversations, and that was of last month. So I know we've grown even since then. And I also wanted to mention that there are 54 countries represented on the network. So it really reflects SWE as a global organization. Participating in the platform really opens you up to connecting with SWE members from all over the world. And then I have some other kind of fun facts on this slide. Our most active cohort was in November 2020 with 841 conversations taking place in just 2 weeks. And that cohort actually coincided with WE20, which was SWE's fully virtual annual conference. So the Mentor Network was brand new, but it really came at a great time because the platform provided a way for SWE members to meet and connect, even though we weren't able to be in person at all that year. So there is just so much potential for connection through the Mentor Network. And I wanted to mention here that the mentor directory can be filtered by industry and or discussion topic. You'll see that in a bit. But the top 3 industry topics that mentors are available to discuss are career transitions, technology, and mechanical engineering, but there's lots more. And there's also discussion topics that mentors are available to discuss, like interviewing tips, resume review, and more. So we'll look at that together in a bit. And here I wanted to just highlight National Mentoring Month, which was last month. It's every January. And we did a social media campaign to highlight different aspects of mentoring at SWE. So there's a post about the mentoring committee and all of the amazing work that they do. There's a post about on-demand web sessions that are focused on the topic of mentoring that you can access on SWE's Advanced Learning Center. And those web sessions are free with your membership. That's a membership benefit that is included for you. So I know we have topics like best practices on how to be a super mentor or a super mentee. There's one all about the power of mentoring. So there's a lot to the mentoring committee here at SWE. And I really encourage you to follow SWE's social media account so you can stay up to date, not just on what's going on with mentoring, but everything SWE. And all of SWE's social media accounts are linked at the top of the main website right on SWE.org. So I also added a bar graph to this slide so you can kind of see our growth throughout this fiscal year. The social media campaign was really successful in spreading awareness about the platform and engaging people in mentoring at SWE. We saw our highest numbers and engagement all fiscal year, so since last July. And I think it's probably been the highest since We20. So the platform continues to grow, and I'm excited for you to hear from Becca and Nicole in a little bit so you can learn even more about the potential and the impact that the Mentor Network can have. So now let's get into some logistics. Mentoring occurs in 1 to 2 week cohorts that are scheduled throughout the year. And we do that so that you can really make mentoring a priority during those times. And so once you create a mentor or mentee account, you can participate in each cohort as they occur. You don't need to sign up for each cohort. Once you have an account, you're in. So all cohorts are open to general mentoring and networking, but some cohorts do have a theme, and the theme is there to act as a prompt to guide the conversation, focus on an aspect of career development, or maybe engage a specific group within the SWE community. So for example, the next cohort coming up is in just a few weeks, and the theme is networking with affinity groups. So this is a great opportunity to learn about SWE's affinity groups and explore diversity within the SWE community. Affinity groups, their mission is to bring together communities that share similar interests and backgrounds that support our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging strategic goals. So I had mentioned that there's, different topics you can select in the mentor directory. All of the affinity groups are there as well. And you'll see that in a bit. And now I want to talk about credits. So all mentees and mentors as well, in case you're a mentor and you decide you need mentoring too, all users will receive 3 credits for 1 week cohort and 5 credits for cohorts that are 2 weeks long. And each one of those credits can be used to book 1 conversation with a mentor. So the Mentor Network is really meant to facilitate kind of short-term mentoring or one-off mentoring. I've also heard it referred to as flash mentoring. So it's, an easy way to get involved. It's a pretty low commitment for both mentors and mentees, but of course you can get as involved as you want to be. But mentors, you can select your availability to as little as one conversation per cohort if that's what you can do. And we appreciate that. Or mentees, if you meet with someone once and it doesn't feel like it was a great fit, the relationship can end there. But it is a great way to meet with different people and gain a variety of perspectives. So in a 2-week cohort, you have 5 credits. You could meet with 5 different mentors and learn from each of them. But it can serve as an introduction to people, as a networking tool. If you and the person you meet with would like to keep in touch, possibly continue the conversation or share updates, we do encourage you to exchange information and keep in touch off of the platform through LinkedIn or email. And those conversations are 30 minutes and they're virtual. They take place either on the platform right in your browser, or you can connect your Zoom room. So I'll mention that again in a little bit. But here I have some tips for just kind of how to make the most of your experience and how to make sure that you have a really thorough and complete profile. My first tip is to add your location. That can help you find mentors in your local area. If, maybe there's something region specific that you want to discuss, or you could possibly spark a connection with someone from across the world. Maybe you're relocating for work and you want to speak with someone in that city. You can utilize the mentor network for that. And adding your location also helps us have accurate data. So we really appreciate it. My next tip, plan ahead for future cohorts. So like I mentioned, mentoring isn't available year-round. The mentor network essentially opens for 1 to 2 week cohorts, and we will publish the cohort calendar a whole year in advance. So SWE's fiscal year is July 1st through June 30th of the following year. So we're in FY24 now, but the FY25 calendar will be released in the next few months, and you'll be able to plan ahead and reference the calendar, which is really great. My other tip is to leave a review after your conversation. Both mentors and mentees have the opportunity to review the conversation. You can rate the conversation on a few different factors, like your overall experience or whether it made you feel more connected to SWE. And you can add comments as well. And so that feedback is really helpful to us on the back end, to know what people are talking about and kind of what the needs of the community are. And then I wanted to mention a few things that are specific to mentor accounts versus mentee accounts. Mentors, my number one tip would be to add a profile picture. That will just make people feel more comfortable booking a conversation with you and excited to meet you. You'll also want to make sure you're updating your availability on the platform for each cohort. So the way that works is you'll select some windows of time on a calendar where you're typically available, but that may change from cohort to cohort. So you can always update that. And you also have the option to link an outside calendar. So if you want to link your Google Calendar, for example, the mentor network system would read your availability from that and be able to mentees or other mentors would be able to book with you based on your availability that way. You also want to ensure that you've selected all industries and topics that you have experience in, because that will help mentees find you and be able to connect on some common interests. And then I do suggest connecting your Zoom account so you can meet on Zoom instead of in the browser. There is a way you can test your connectivity before you meet, which is great. But I have heard that people have the best luck on Zoom, that it just tends to work a little smoother. So that's a great tip for you. Mentee accounts, you have the ability to add your goal to your profile, what you are looking to accomplish with the Mentor Network, and you can update that at any time. And you can also personalize it when you're booking with mentors. So that helps the mentor just be able to know where you're at and best prepare for the conversation and be able to support you. Also, after each conversation, you can add notes and any next steps you want to take in your journal to track your progress. And in a minute, we'll look at that together and you can see what that looks like. But this is a great way to just kind of keep track of what you've learned through the Mentor Network. And you want to be mindful that your journal is visible to mentors you book with, because that gives them insight into your journey and helps them support you. And then lastly, for mentees, you'll also want to ensure that you've selected all industries and topics that you are interested in, because that will help the system show you mentors who share those interests. So now let's look at the mentor directory together, and I'm going to switch screens. Okay, so now you should see, this is my pretend mentee account. So you can see, and we'll focus on the mentee perspective for this demo, but I'll be able to check my upcoming conversations here, any past conversations I've had. You can fill out your About Me section. I've put, I'm an engineering major at SWE University for the purposes of this demo. But you could also kind of add anything you want to share about yourself. You know, what is your background, maybe why you're interested in engineering. Just give a little information about your background and the kind of things that that you're interested in. And here are the interests that I've been referencing. So let's take a look at this, because you can edit this whenever you want to, because interests evolve and change. So we have all kinds of engineering disciplines here for you to select. And then down here, these are more so discussion topics that you'll be able to select. And you'll see that in the mentor directory as well when we get to that. I've included my LinkedIn here. Here is my goal. So let's say I'm in college and I'm going to be applying for summer internships, but I need some guidance with that. That's my goal right now. So before we go to the Mentor Network, I just want to point out one more thing on this page, and that is my journal. So let's pretend I've already had a conversation with Becca. I could write that here. I met with Becca. She gave me some great tips for my interview next week. And I could even, you know, write what those tips are. This is just a great, it's kind of like a home. It's a good place to put your thoughts, what you've learned, and track the progress you've made on the SWE Mentor Network. So now I'm ready to book a conversation. I could either click book a conversation now, or I could also get to the mentor directory by clicking our mentors from the top here. And that's loading. And you can see there's over 1,600 mentors in the system, which is awesome. And at the top, these are the best matches for my goal based on the Terrazzo algorithm. Terrazzo is the platform who hosts the Mentor Network, essentially. So that's why you want to make sure that you have a really thorough profile so that you can see the top recommended mentors right at the top there for you. And I could also filter this by distance. I'm in Chicago, so I could find someone a little closer to me in Chicago. Or I could also approach the mentor directory by looking at best matches in my time zone, or even mentors that have joined more recently. You can also utilize the search bar. Let's say, you know, I might be interested in interning at any company. Let's put Medtronic, because I know they're a SWE CPC partner, which is our corporate partnership council. And I can see, you know, there's a whole list of mentors who indicate that they work at Medtronic, and I could book a conversation with them if they're available. So that's a really great way to use the search bar. But my favorite part, I think this is just the most fun feature to play around with on the Mentor Network, would be filtering the directory by industry or discussion topics. So let's say I'm interested in biomedical engineering. There's 147 mentors who list that as one of their areas of expertise, that they are willing and excited to talk with you about biomedical engineering. And I could also add, you know, I have that internship interview coming up. So I could scroll down here to topics and click interviewing tips. And that shows me 73 mentors that list both biomedical engineering and interviewing tips. And from there, I could click on learn more to see their profile. And I will show you that in a minute. But while we're here on this page, I just wanted to point out for our upcoming cohort that's themed networking with affinity groups. Let's say, you know, I'm interested in learning about the LGBTQ plus and allies affinity group, or how to get involved. I can filter it by that group, and I can see there's 81 mentors who list that as one of their interests. So that is the best way, really, to find a mentor who's going to be a good fit for you. I would say there's two things. It would be completing your profile, filling out your goal, and checking off all of the interests that you have, and then really playing around with filtering the directory by topic. And you'll be able to find mentors that can meet with you. So now let's look at Becca's profile, because she has an awesome mentor profile. So I can see from here that Becca, I can see her job title, where she's located, general area. I can see all of the industries and topics that she's indicated that she is available to discuss. She has over 20 years in the industry. Very impressive. I could look at her LinkedIn, and I can read about her experience and accomplishments. And Becca wrote about her engineering experience and also her SWE experience. So this is a great mentor profile. Like, I'm really able to learn a lot about Becca and her approach to mentoring. And here, this just means that the cohort does not start until March 11th. So I would click book now, and then say March 11th, 5 p.m. That works for me. Becca's already indicated that she's free at that time. So that will use one of my credits, and I can, it will just plug in the goal that I've already added to my profile, but I can personalize it if there's something in particular that may have stood out about Becca's profile to me, I can add that in, maybe add some questions that I know I have for her so she can prepare ahead of time. And all I have to do from there is book the conversation. And then I will receive a confirmation email, and so will Becca. And so while conversations can only be booked within that window, so this next one, March 11th to the 22nd, if something comes up, maybe I can't make it and I need to ask Becca if she's able to reschedule, then I would just go through my confirmation email, and that will have a way for me to contact Becca and reschedule. And we will be able to reschedule outside of just that cohort window, because we understand things come up. It can be hard to fit in a meeting in a very small window, just 1 to 2 weeks. So if something comes up, you need to reschedule, you'll be able to do that. So now let's go back to our slides. Okay, and so here I want to talk about impact of the Mentor Network. And I hope that short demo kind of brought the Mentor Network to life a little bit. But before we hear from Becca and Nicole, I wanted to take a moment to just speak generally about the impact and potential that the platform has. There's a few quotes on here that you can read that demonstrate that. But I think sometimes when we talk about mentoring dynamics or the mentoring relationship in general, we tend to focus on the impact on mentees. You know, mentees are getting new insights, information to kind of help guide the way, figure out what's next. But mentoring is also hugely beneficial for mentors. So besides being a way to give back to your community, mentors can learn a lot from mentoring as well. It's a valuable professional development opportunity. It's a way for you to grow your network, self-reflect, boost your confidence, and it goes on. There's a lot of benefits on both sides of a mentoring relationship. And I have also heard of people getting jobs through connections they've made on the SWE Mentor Network. So I had to just throw that out there. But now let's hear from Becca about her experience being a mentor on the SWE Mentor Network.
All right, thanks, Abby. That demo was fabulous. I enjoyed watching it from the mentee's perspective. So yeah, my name is Becca Brader. I joined Mentor Network right after SWE 2022. I was at conference and my SWE friend Sunita, who I think is on the call, actually mentioned to me about the Mentor Network and suggested maybe that I join. I mentor a lot in our local Kansas City community, so she knew it was probably something that would pique my interest. So as a collegiate, I didn't have a lot of women engineering role models. And especially like early in my career and starting out, becoming a new mom, there just weren't a lot of women out there to talk about what I was experiencing. I'm also a first generation college student. So once again, I didn't really have anyone to talk to about my college experience, and nor did I know any other engineers. So, I joined the Mentor Network, one, because I just wanted to give back and support my peers and the next generation of engineers coming behind me, because I really could have used that as a collegiate and early career professional myself. And even now, 20 plus years, I still need a mentor sometimes. So I may actually, Abby, take you up on being a mentee as well. So I've been part of the Mentor Network about a year and a half now, and I've met with 10 SWE members, and some I've met with more than once and one in person. And my mentees have been all over the globe, some in the US, some in Europe, and some in South America. They've been collegiates, early career professionals, mid-career, and director level SWE members. Some of the topics I've covered are resume review. We talk a lot about career progression and next steps. So, should I go to grad school? What should I study? Should I get my MBA? We talk a lot about industry changes and how to pivot from one role or one industry to another, and just general leadership development. And of course, there's always just conversation around just encouragement and support. You know, we all need each other. And one of the things I love about the SWE Mentor Network is no matter where you are in the globe, you have access to someone to talk to. So some of my learnings are always be prepared with a computer and a cell phone. So I don't know about you all, but my technology isn't always my best friend. And so sometimes, I think Abby kind of alluded to this earlier. Uh, it doesn't always work generally with Wi-Fi when you to have audio and visual. I often will let my mentees know that I may turn my camera off if they start to go in and out when I'm working through the platform. Um, I always do have a cell phone handy. I like to share my cell phone number in case we do get cut off, so at least we can continue our conversation via phone call. I did create my own personal Zoom and add it and link it to the SWE Mentor Network tool, and that has improved the call quality. And also, so when you do receive that email, read it beforehand, read about your mentee, maybe where they're located and about their goals. And so I actually met Nicole through the Mentor Network. She was one of the mentees that scheduled time with me. And so as we were preparing this program, I thought it would be really interesting to also hear from the mentee's point of view. So I asked Nicole if she would be willing to talk about her experience as a mentee. So Nicole.
Thank you, Becca. Yeah, like Becca mentioned, we actually met on the SWE Mentor Network a little bit back, but yeah, I've really enjoyed the platform. Just a little bit of background, I joined during week 20. I think Abby showed in one of the previous slides that it was actually probably one of the most like busy weeks that it's ever had, but if you guys weren't around during this time, this was like one of the virtual conferences. And I remember I think it was some kind of like advertisement for the network, and wasn't too sure if it was like part of the conference or not, but definitely glad that I was able to join the network, and I really found a lot of value in it at the time, just meeting a couple of mentors since the conference was remote. But since then, I've just kept up to date with the credits that came out, and I planned out different sessions for myself as well. And I think that's kind of kept me on track as well with making sure I'm staying up to date with like the professional development topics that the Mentor Network offers. So that was really important to me. And definitely meeting like-minded engineers from different backgrounds. Like what was mentioned previously, you can meet people from different career paths, different walks of life. And I think it's important to also, if you are a collegiate, get experience outside of just your university in terms of any kind of career advice, any kind of networks just within your university. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity because there's no limits on who you can speak to and who you can reach out to. But for me, I found that it's best, I've best used it to navigate different uncertainties with understanding like different job offers, how to go about, looking into different career paths. So I feel like that's been pretty helpful throughout my time in my undergrad and has helped me kind of, develop into the person I am today. And I think it's also good to just have a network in SWE and, going to the conferences, having a couple of people you can reach out to and meet up with in person. I've met up with two of my SWE mentors at the SWE conference this past year, as well as meet up with, I actually met with a SWE mentor in person as well. And another thing that I've also done is network within my internship. So at the previous companies I was at, I was able to look into opportunities at different locations and also get to talk about my experiences. So there's a variety of different things you can connect with. I've connected with over 15 mentors. And like I mentioned, a couple have been in person, but most have been in the United States, but also I've talked to people in Europe. There's also opportunities to meet people all over the world and different types of career, phases as well. So I've liked having the opportunity to not only talk to people who are further along in their career, but also even early career. I've talked to people who are just, a year ahead of me navigating their first job. So definitely even then you can talk to people in, their PhD programs or anything that you're looking for as well. And some of the general topics covered are in these bullet points here. I would say like the ones that stick out to me the most are definitely looking at different positions and companies to apply for. You can search different companies, you can search different career paths. So I think that that's a pretty useful tool that you can use. But also, I think it's also good to look at some of the personal side of things. So talking about personal goals, if you want to, talk about balancing family and career, those are things that I think are also really beneficial because, for example, you might not be able to talk about that as much with people at university if you're talking more about the professional development topics like resume reviews and looking into interview tips. So I think, going forward, definitely relocating for work and some of those other topics once you actually have a job or something that I'm gonna be looking forward to in the network. But really, I would say, even though there's like those general topics, you can really talk about anything with your mentors. And one of the biggest pieces of advice I have for anybody using the platform is to really do your research beforehand, prepare different questions. And I think that will kind of help guide the conversation, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to always stick to a certain script. And definitely it's good to make sure that you're connecting with your mentors if you'd like on a personal level as well. But also you can connect afterwards on LinkedIn and even over like phone as well. I still text some of my mentors as well and check in with them once in a while. But that would be my biggest piece of advice. If you have somebody that you really like to connect with, make sure that you're checking in every so often with them as well. Because of course things get busy, but you never know when conferences will come up or if they're going through any exciting life events as well or career transitions. And I think it's good to kind of make sure that you're staying up to date as well with your mentor as well. But I think that it's definitely something that you should be driving as well as them. But I'm very, very thankful overall for the SWE Mentor Network. And I would just recommend for anybody to join. And definitely if you're feeling overwhelmed at first, just, look at maybe booking one mentor each round of the different credits that come out. But it's been a really, really great thing that I've been able to take advantage of. And I'm also happy to answer any questions about making the most out of it. So thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so much, Nicole and Becca, for sharing about your experience. I think it's so valuable to hear from the perspective of people actually using the platform. So thanks again. And yeah, we are running right on time. So we can pretty much use the rest of our time to answer questions. And if you have any questions specifically on the Mentor Network or kind of just questions in general about the mentee mentor relationship, anything to do with mentoring, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer. And then we'll just leave a couple minutes at the end for one more slide, which just has some extra links for you and contact information.
Abby,
Yeah.
I have a question from Stephanie Taylor. She says, when is it appropriate to broach the subject of requesting a referral for an internship or a job at a mentor's company or organization? Or is it recommended that the Mentor Network not overlap with internship and job searches?
Oh, wait, thank you so much for that question. Yeah, I noticed that in the chat. So I know I had made a comment earlier about how that I know some connections that have happened on the Mentor Network have led to jobs, but I do want to clarify, like it's not a platform that should really be used just for like that intention or to like recruit people or to request a referral. I think that's something like it has the potential to come out of the connection you formed with your mentee or mentor, but I think it's best to approach mentoring conversations with kind of it just more generally, like maybe on kind of more situation based, or you can approach with certain questions, but I think overall it's best to not view the Mentor Network as like a job or internship tool. But yeah, does anyone maybe from the mentoring committee or anyone else on have something to speak to that?
I responded, Abby, that it's something that that may grow out of a mentoring relationship, but not necessarily right out of the gate.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get at. So thank you, Kathy.
I had a question for myself personally that I put in the chat, which is I'm really curious about what's new or upcoming in the Mentor Network.
Let's see. So maybe I think one of our contacts from Terrazzo might be on. Audrey, if you're still on, is there anything that you want to share that might be new or upcoming for the Mentor Network?
Hi, I am Son. This
Hi,
is
Audrey.
Audrey from Terrazzo. So we just launched that new filtering for location, so that already happened, but that's very new. I don't know the next like tool update that's coming, but we listen to feedback. So if anyone has feedback, make sure you're putting that into your reviews, whether that's about the relationship or the platform or ideas. Or you can reach out directly to the email that's listed on the network under Contact Us.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, Audrey and I work really closely together to roll out new features as they come up. Like we didn't always have the journal feature, so not so new anymore, but we are continually adding things as we keep growing.
The mentoring committee had a session on mentoring around the world, and we didn't actually realize until we started researching for that we didn't have a location. So it's really great to hear that we now have the location, so that if you do want to mentor with somebody from a different country, you have the opportunity and an easy way to find them.
Yes, definitely.
Another question on the chat, and I'm sorry, but I missed the name. Oh, Mandeep. Hi, Mandeep. I haven't talked to you in ages. Do you have any recommendations from a mentee perspective on how to sustain the relationship? Sometimes it kind of stops after a couple, two conversations, even if there's a need. That's one really for the mentoring committee, I think, Abby. Can I take that one?
Yeah, go for it. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. It's really a matter of the relationship. And keep in mind, by the way, mentors don't have to be younger, or mentees don't have to be younger than you. One of my favorite mentors is half my age, and a different race, and she's been awesome. But it really is about the connection. But keep in mind that both mentors and mentees have lives and jobs and so forth. So sometimes it's just a matter that they get caught up in, whether it's the mentor or mentee, they get caught up in their other business. It may help to reach out and put in the note, I know you're busy, but can you make time for me? Because there's something pretty critical I want to talk about. Other mentors are always available and ready, for you. But life does take over sometimes.
I want to answer Francesca's question in the chat. Can or should one get in touch with a mentor for topics other than the topic of the current cohort? So if you missed the general mentoring and networking cohort, but you want to talk about that. So yeah, so some of the scheduled cohorts have a theme, like the upcoming networking with affinity groups, or we always do one in the fall to get ready for annual conference. And that is a great way to prepare. You can meet with mentors on interviewing tips, resume review, public speaking, networking tips, all kinds of stuff to help you feel ready for conference. But the themes are always optional. So if networking with the affinity groups is not something you're interested right now, or maybe you're already involved with an affinity group, you can still totally participate in the mentor network and still use it for general mentoring and networking, even during the themed cohort. So I understand that might be a little confusing, but just remember that the themes are always optional. It's really just a way for SWE HQ to try to engage certain groups within SWE and show our support. I know after the affinity groups cohort, another one we have coming up is engaging community college students. So we'll open the network at that point for community college students to participate, even if they're not a member at that time. That goes along with our initiative to really support, provide more support to community college students. So yeah, even if you're not invested in that current theme, I still really encourage you to participate. So maybe we might have time for a couple more questions and then we'll wrap up. So any last minute questions, any comments? And if not, that's okay too.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Sorry, am I audible
Yeah.
correctly? Yes, I had a more kind of follow-up question, but please correct me if I'm wrong here. So I think I heard that the SWE has mentoring sessions available for those who want to become mentors. Uh, is that correct that I heard? I'm not really sure about that.
We have briefings on the mentoring page. I'm sorry, Abby, but these are all documents that the mentoring committee created. We have information on how to be a mentor, how to be a mentee, mentor and mentee expectations. We have goal setting forms. We have a number of different opportunities. Avery Avery has put the link into the chat for anybody who'd like to look at that. If you don't see something that you would like us to address, please feel free to reach out to us either on that page, or you can look us up on the Facebook page, and Avery has also put our link there. Facebook, Instagram. Just ask us the question. If we haven't created the materials, and you tell us that it's something that you think is important, we will figure out a way to make it happen.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let me just address one more question that came in through the chat. What happens if the mentor did not attend the session and is also not responding? So sometimes that does happen, unfortunately. If you contact us, we can make sure that you get that credit added back to your account. I would suggest.
Do you want me to chime in, Abby?
Oh yeah, sure. Audrey, go ahead.
Yes. So when you receive the email for booking, there will also be little buttons in there that say contact the person that you scheduled with, or opposite way if it's a mentor. So you can reach out via there, and it will look really silly. It's a very long email, but it's double blinded, so it will land in their inbox. So I would recommend reaching out via that way to see if they want to reschedule. But it's very important to fill out your review. It will know if the other person did not join, so it will be very simple for you to click mentor did not attend, and then we will be notified of that and reach out to both parties. So review is the fastest way, but it is suggested that you also reach out via email to contact them.
Okay, thank you so much for jumping in, Audrey. Audrey is the best contact for kind of all those for all those intricacies of the network and kind of more tech focused questions or kind of how all of that works. So thank you so much for that. And now let's just go to our last slide. I've linked some resources here. So at the top, membership types and benefits. That's the best place to go to review all of your membership options at SWE if you're not a member yet. There's also a tutorial how to join SWE that will guide you through the whole joining process with screenshots and everything. And then I linked the mentoring page. That's also what Avery added in the chat. Thank you so much for that. We have an FAQ page for the Mentor Network, the calendar that you can reference. And then I also linked the mentoring committee LinkedIn and Facebook groups. So that's the best way to stay in touch with the committee and learn about other events that they do. And then if you have to reach SWE with any mentoring questions, you can always reach out to mentoring@SWE.org. Membership@SWE.org is a great contact to keep in mind as well. It'll reach the whole membership team. And if you have any questions about membership, any issues logging into your portal, anything like that, membership@SWE.org is the best email to contact. And then if you want to reach the mentoring committee specifically, there's the email address for that. And then Terrazzo. So that is the platform who hosts the SWE Mentor Network and designed it. And you can reach Audrey through that email address. So if you're having any kind of any tech issues or issues logging into your Mentor Network account, or questions, how do I contact this mentor, stuff like that, SWE at Terrazzo is going to be your best bet. But if you're not sure who to contact, SWE or Terrazzo, go ahead and reach out to mentoring@SWE.org. We can always loop in Terrazzo if we need to. So that should cover everything. And by the end of this week, you will receive an email from me that has these slides. So you have all of this information in one place, all of these links that you can have all in one place, because I know it's kind of spread out everywhere. So this slide deck will be a great resource for you to keep. And the session was also recorded, so I'll send that along as well. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, everyone. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your interest in the Mentor Network. And you'll receive all of this from me. And thank you again. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.